Welcome to the Next Level Social Podcast. I'm your host, Ayla Sorochuk, and my purpose is to help female entrepreneurs create businesses and brands through social media and online marketing so they can start to attract their ideal client and start generating the leads, the sales, and the income that they deserve. If you're ready to take your business to the next level and start showing up online like the unstoppable entrepreneur that you are, then this is the perfect place for you. Let's get social. Okay, welcome to a new episode of the Next Level Social Podcast. I'm your host, Ayla, and today's a very exciting day because today I am officially recording my first ever podcast that is on video. I'm a little nervous. I don't know why. I'm on camera all the time. I'm always showing up on stories, but I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. So if you're listening to this on your, on the radio, on the speakers or whatever, like normal, then you're fine. It's all good. But I am going to also try to upload this to, I think I'm going to start just with Spotify. Spotify has an ability for us to be able to upload video podcasts, which is super cool. And then eventually when we launch the YouTube, my YouTube channel, we'll put it up there. So hello, how are you? Good to see you. If you're new here, if this is your first time either tuning into the mic or showing up here, hello, I'm Ayla. I love having you here. And I can't wait to dive in today. And today's going to be a nice, easy, flowy episode because we're doing a little bit of a Q&A. So a couple days ago, I just posted on my stories asking you what you wanted to hear from me, and you girls submitted some like pretty spicy questions, I'm not gonna lie. So I have a few of them written down. There's a lot, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through them all, but I'm gonna try to get through as many of them and just riff and just have a cool, calm, casual conversation with you here on the mic and on video. This is so cool. I don't know why I'm like nerding out over this, but here we are. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. So the first question comes from my girl, Katie. So she says, what do you tell people to do when their biz is stalled or declining? Such a good question. Such an important question. Such a relatable question because we all experience this at some point in time. We experience this at some point in business and in life. It's inevitable really in business. We all have highs, we all have lows, and it's just really the nature of the entrepreneurial beast, which is all gravy, baby. That's why we have these conversations. That's why we're going to talk about this. But I will say, Katie, and everyone else that's listening, when you feel like business is stalled, when you feel like business is declining, this can be your make or break moment because your mind, your mindset, it's everything here. And it really can make or break you. And trust me, I've experienced this. This is why I can speak to this firsthand. And I've had so many clients that can experience this too. And so you really have to check yourself before you wreck yourself and really get your mindset strong. And this is why daily mindset and personal development is important to have it as a daily practice, not just when things aren't going the way that we want. We want to be practicing mindset and really strengthening our mind. Our brain is a muscle, right? And like any muscle on our body, we can be growing it and strengthening it. And it's a tool, right? So I really lean into, for me, every single day. I have it in my calendar. If you know, you know. I'm a theme block day timing girl. In my calendar in the morning, I start my day with gratitude. I have gratitude journaling in my calendar, no phone zone, while I drink my coffee. And every single day, I write out gratitudes. And this is absolutely key for me. When we can be really grateful and really cognitive of the things that we do have, this is going to allow for space and energy to come in for the things that we don't have. So sometimes my list is very long and it's just kind of like flowing out of me and I'm able to write down a whole bunch of different things. Sometimes it's a few things like I'm grateful for breath today. I'm grateful for the warm air or the cold air. If you're here in Canada, you know what I'm talking about right now. It can be, I'm grateful for the clients that I do have, and I'm open to receiving clients, new clients coming into my world. So really leaning into gratitude can help us when things feel slow because we can be grateful for all that we do have, okay? So that's one thing that I'm going to suggest you lean into is gratitude. Also, vision setting and energetics, those kind of go hand in hand with gratitude. If you let your mindset bring you down, that's the first piece. You're obviously then going to let your energy will be brought down. And especially when you are a content creator and you're showing up online and you're having to put yourself out there, energy is big too. So if you're feeling like, oh, it's slower right now, I'm a failure, what's the point? The rabbit hole of all of these limiting beliefs, that's going to affect your mind and that's going to affect your energy. And then how do you think that you're going to show up when you're talking about your products, when you're talking about your services, when you're talking about your offer and the transformation? You're probably going to show up with an energy that is lacking, and people can feel that. People can feel energy, even if it's in your Instagram stories and on camera and on video like this, or if you're listening to me on the podcast, audio like this, you can hear my voice, right? If I'm like, having an old Eeyore day from Winnie the Pooh, like, oh, guys, you should buy my offer. I'd really love to help you. I have a couple spots left. Whereas like, you need my offer, and this is going to help you and change your life because of X, Y, and Z. What are you waiting for? Right? There's a difference in energy. And so for me, energy is really, really big. And it's important in launching. It's important in selling. It's important during the high seasons in business. I know when things are going really well for me, when I sign on some new clients or a launch is going really well, like I am fired up, right? But when things aren't going as well, I can sometimes feel it too. But it's important to keep that vibe high, because what you're putting out is going to come back into you and back into your world and back into your business. And people, I'm telling you, they can feel it. They can feel when you're coming from a place of scarcity. They can feel when you're coming from a place of lack. They can feel when you're coming from a place of insecurity and lack of confidence. So it's important to work on. And it doesn't come naturally all the time, and it isn't easy. But just like mindset and gratitude journaling is important and something you want to practice, energy is the same. So practice. And practice vision setting and seeing where you want to go and working backwards and holding the vision. That's also why having a why, a strong foundation is into what you're doing, your why. Like, why are you doing what you do? Why do you sell the products and the services that you do? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So why are you doing what you do? And remember that and hold on to that during the slower seasons and use that as fuel to increase and enhance your energy and get fired up and fueled up. That's the game changers. That's what sets you apart from the status quo into like big boss bitch energy, right? So that's the other thing. Movement. I have that written down here. I have in big capital letters on my document. Move. So for me, when things feel slow, the best way to make me feel better is to start making waves, to start making movement, to start putting myself out there a little bit more aggressively, to start showing up a little bit more boldly, to try new things, to innovate a little bit. So whether that is me straight up promoting my offers in my content, in my Instagram stories, whether that's, making a really sick piece of content that I'm proud of, a new reel, a carousel that I like pour into that is, yes, educational and impactful, but that also is sales driven because I'm trying to speed things up a little bit. Whether that's following up with some potential leads that I was in conversation with previously, whether that's sending out a sales email, whether that's literally going live either by myself or with somebody who has an audience that potentially would be interested in what I'm doing, hosting a live training, doing a collab and pitching an offer at the end of it, launching something new or relaunching something that performed well. Those are all things that can help us when we feel like things are slower. I think just overall, get into action, right? That to me, when things feel slow, it might just be a season, but there's probably a reason why. And you're probably, if you're being honest with yourself, Katie, if that one that asked this question, but I'm sure lots of people can relate, things probably feel slow because you're not actively as moving with the mindset and the level of commitment that you're capable of. So I'm going to say to you, get moving, take action, even if it's messy action, especially in the beginning. Messy action is better than no action at all. So get moving, try new things, okay? And above else, coming back to like the mindset piece, Stop telling yourself that business is slowing down or that business is declining. Those are very powerful words, right? And the words that we think, the words that we speak, the words that we put out there, that's what we're attracting back to ourselves, okay? This is the narrative that we're speaking into fruition. So instead, change it up. I'm going to have a better business this week. Things are about to speed up. It is my time. I've put in the work, my moment, my client, my sale. It's just around the corner, okay? And lean into that big, bold, badass queen energy that I know that you're made for. Okay, great question. Went a little bit of a tangent there, but YOLO. That is what we do over here. Okay. Another question here. Oh yeah, this is a great question. So what are some great personal development resources? Podcast, YouTube, books, and why do you love them? This also comes from Katie. I think this might be the same Katie. I'm not sure. Maybe it was a different Katie, but I have Katie written down here. I should have made note there. All good. Okay, so this is a great question. I wrote some of my favorites down. Honestly, there's so many more than this list and that what I have written down here, but we'll save that for another day. But these were the ones that kind of came to fruition and to my brain first. So number one, I talk about this book on the podcast all the time. It's like my ride or die, which is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And this book has changed my life. I try to read it once every month, once every couple of months. I read it the first time, honestly, probably 10 years ago before I even launched my business. And it was so applicable at that time to life. But then now as a business owner and as I've really gone all in on my entrepreneurial journey, this book has really kind of paved the way and helped shift how I live my life and run my business. And it really is, the reason I love it is the author, Don, essentially speaks to the 4 agreements that we all should live by in life and by business. And they are to not to take things personally, to never make any assumptions, to always do your best, and to always live by your word. Okay. And so you can imagine, and he goes into them and gives examples, and it's a beautiful read. It's a short read. That's why I can read it every month. Like, it's short and sweet. But these 4 agreements, and even me seeing them, like saying them now, if this is the first you've heard of them, they can help you so much. Especially the 2 that I lean into a lot are never make assumptions and never take things personal. We never have an idea of what's going on in other people's lives, and everyone is fighting a battle that we have no idea about. And so when things happen, when, payments fail, or clients are all in and then they change their mind, or, you get a nasty review, or someone doesn't like a product that you're selling, or whatever it is, it's so easy to quickly fall into this victimhoodness and to assume that we know what somebody's, thinking, or to take it personal. But nothing, especially in business, is personal. Truly, nothing ever is actually personal. It's about the other person on the other side, because everyone has shit going on. But nothing is ever personal or about you, and you can never make an assumption. You can never assume, oh, they didn't sign up because my landing page sucked, or they didn't sign up because I'm not worthy enough, or they joined that coach because my branding must be good enough. Like, those are all assumptions that I've made, assumptions that I know you've probably made, that are just BS. We cannot assume. And so, anyways, this book, The 4 Agreements, please read it at one point in your life or multiple times in your life. It is a beautiful read and has changed and impacted my life so much. Another one, Rich as Fuck by Amanda Frances. So Amanda Frances is such a personality. I listened to her Audible. I've listened to her podcast. I've bought in some course. So she is all about money mindset. And why I love this book is it really shifted and shaped the way that I viewed and received and accepted money. She really made money to me seem and sound, she really made it so money didn't mean anything. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you read the book and if you know her, you know exactly what I mean. And she has this like Valley Girl LA swag about her. Like, it's just a fucking $1 million. Like, this is how she speaks. And at first you're like, okay, is this cringe? And is this woman credible? I remember making some assumptions at the beginning, but then you end up falling in love with her raw and her real authentic self, and the woman is absolutely crushing it in her business and her life. And the way that she views money and money mindset and abundance and energy has been super powerful and really game changing and life changing for me and my business. So another one to definitely check out. Okay, Get Over Your Damn Self by Rumi. I think it's Neustadt. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is a really good one, especially if you are in online sales, if you are in network marketing, if you are a content creator that is selling your own products and service. This book is literally how to get over your damn self. And it is a really great resource for just learning how to lean into the power of showing up and letting go of limiting beliefs and not caring what other people think, and realizing that you are a boss that is born to sell, and that you should be powerfully showing up and selling, and to not let the judgments and the fears and the lack of confidence and all of the things creep in, and to just really get over your damn self and start showing up boldly like you were born to be. So definitely check out that one. Another really good one for letting go of limiting beliefs and crushing, the narrative that isn't suiting us the way that it should be is The Power of Letting Go by John Perkins. That was a really good one. By the way, I'm going to leave all the links for these resources in the show notes below. But The Power of Letting Go was huge. Oh, The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. I mean, if you know, Gabby is a freaking queen when it comes to manifestation and energy and vision setting and building big business from a place of alignment. And she really, in this book, just helped me and helps her. The purpose of it is helping to let go and helping to release the blocks that are holding you back so you can live happier, so you can be more secure, so you have a clear purpose and direction and a divine knowing that the universe, whatever you believe in there, divinely has your back. And it's just a fantastic, fantastic book. I just highly recommend it. Okay, so those are some books. I have a couple podcasts here. I have so many podcasts that I love. Like, we could literally be here all day. The Ed Mylett Show, he is just a freaking boss. I love his approach not only on business, but on mindset. I love how his guest experts are amazing. I just listened to an episode the other day called How to 10X Your Business and Life, Game Changer. One of my girls in my mastermind actually recommended that to me, and it was such a powerful podcast episode. So definitely want to check out him. Jay Shetty, I mean, if you know, he's amazing. Such a powerful speaker. He also has amazing guests, lots of mindset, lots of personal development, some business, but it's, for me, I usually go to him for more of, the bigger, higher level thinking, the emotion-based thinking. So I love him and that show. I love the Boss Babe podcast. They are just they're literally just boss babes. So anything and everything, social media, business, online business, launching, podcasting. I've taken a lot of inspiration from those women over the years, and I love their approach. They've created an empire. I have been following them literally for 10 years. Their Boss Babe quotes really set the stage. In the beginning of Instagram days, they were like the gurus of Boss Babe and Queen quotes. So their podcast is amazing. Another one that I have been listening to, he's actually a previous client of mine. It's the Awake and Winning podcast by Kaylor Betts. So he's definitely an out-of-the-box thinker, but he's a rad guy, and I loved working with him. I helped him get his podcast process and system up and running with his team, and they're just beautiful people. But Kaylor has, a lot of incredible guests come in. They talk on everything from mental health and wellness to questioning the narrative that's put out there by society and mainstream media. Talks a lot about, health and wellness. I think I said that, mental health especially. And so just definitely an interesting podcast to follow, and one that I've been listening to quite frequently as of late. And then for YouTube, I really don't watch a lot of YouTube anymore. I used to be so into YouTube, and I'm getting more into YouTube as I'm starting to create my own YouTube channel. But when it comes to YouTube for personal development, I would say the only resource I really use for it is workouts. And to me, that's personal development. I'm really big on moving my body and working out. And so when it comes to YouTube, I use YouTube as a resource to move my body when I'm working out from home. So Pop Sugar Fitness is a YouTube channel that I have been avidly using and watching for, I'm not even kidding, like a decade. They have such an unlimited amount of free YouTube videos and workouts that you can do anytime, any place. They have beginner, intermediate, middle, and it's all free. And it's so that would be another resource that I use for personal development and on the YouTube side of things. So again, there's so many more that I could share and dive into, but I mean, we only have so much time here on the show. So great question, my girl, Katie. Okay, let's go on to question number 3. This comes from Megan. Megan says, where have you found confidence to launch your business and go out on your own? Oof. Well, this is a doozy. So if you are brand new to the podcast and you're brand new to the show and you don't really know where my background is, I can give you kind of the SparkNote version here and talk to you about it because it pertains to this question. So I really did lack a lot of confidence for many, many, many years, like over a decade. So don't think that like things happen overnight. Don't think that everything is what it seems. I was hella afraid to show up online and to launch my own business. I was scared. I was nervous. I was afraid of failure. I was afraid of judgment. Honestly, I lacked a lot of confidence for way longer than I would truly like to admit. Okay, so there's some relatability for you over here on the show today, but it's true. I hid in the shadows of others. I hid in the shadows of big brands. I hid in the shadows of other entrepreneurs, of celebrities, of other businesses, you name it. That's where I learned my skill set, and that's how I became, the coach that I am today. I actually had to do the work, and I did the work behind the scenes, and that's really how my whole career started. But I honestly had something inside me calling for more and longing to really come out for so long, but fear held me back. Like I wanted to branch out into my own business and start creating my own content and start filming and all of that stuff for myself for probably like 6 years prior to me actually doing it. I was ready. And so for me, what happened really was burnout, and my body actually gave out on me because I was working for, at the time, at the end, I think I want to say like 6, 7, maybe 8 clients, all needing me, all continuously calling me, emailing me, assigning me tasks, needing me to do things, needing me to create, needing me to launch, needing me to build funnels, needing me to create the Facebook ads and the social. I'm just getting overwhelmed thinking about it. I honestly have no idea how I did what I did for so long. If you're in my life back then, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I was working, honestly, 13, 14, 15-hour days, like morning, noon, and night. I wasn't sleeping. My phone was like glued to my ear morning, noon, and night. If it wasn't Slack going off, it was Voxer, it was Gmail, it was text message. I had no boundaries. I just lacked so much structure and like confidence in myself. It's like honestly making me a little emotional because I just didn't feel like I was worthy for more for a really long time. And then finally I hit a brick wall and I had 2 really intense health scares. The first was I was diagnosed with this condition called vulvodynia, and it pretty much made me be flat out on my ass for almost a year. And not to get too much into this and digress too much, vulvodynia is a condition that is caused by an unknown cause for an unknown reason, and it is chronic pain in your vagina. Mine was stemmed on after tons and tons and tons of research, and doctors and naturopaths and testing was brought on from an overprescription and an overdose of antibiotics. It started with a mild bladder infection. I was prescribed antibiotics, and the antibiotic that I was subscribed was too potent of a dose. It was like a one-size-fit-all powder instead of a pill. And it ended up just messing things up with my gut health and the prebiotic and the probiotic, and it turned into a disaster. And instead of figuring that out, they continued to just prescribe me more and more antibiotics, thinking that my bladder infection wasn't going away, even though it wasn't showing up in my blood or my urine. Anyways, it was horrendous, and it was burning, pulsing, chronic pain in my vagina to the point where I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I obviously couldn't be intimate with my husband. My mental health was suffering. There were some dark days. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, there was to a point finally where I found this specialty vulvodynia clinic in Vancouver, and there was this giant wait list, and I essentially had to call them and email them and say, I need to get in. I am afraid of what I'm going to do to myself because I cannot live like this any longer. And I don't say that lightly, and like, that's not something that I've really ever shared with anyone beside my husband and my mom, to be honest. But that's just where I was at. And this just shows how far I had to hit before I went into my business. I promise there's a point to all of this, but that's the truth. Like, it was so hard. And I know that my body couldn't heal itself. I know that I couldn't fight whatever was going on because I was still having to work, and I was still working with clients and having to deal with, all of that while trying to get my health in order. And it was a mess. So that was strike one. And then strike two was I ended up back in the hospital. I had really bad chest pain. I felt like my chest was like cracking open and my heart was going really fast. My brother took me to the hospital, and I basically was having a panic attack and overwhelmed from stress, and again from burnout, and my heart was fine, but I was just having an absolute anxiety panic attack, and it was just my body was giving out on me. And so those two moments were really the moments where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so at the time I was living in Vancouver, and I was like, my landlord sold our place, and we had no place to live. And if you know the Vancouver market, it's not just easy just to like get a new apartment or get a new condo. And we had 30 days to evict essentially. So I'm like, you know what? Screw this. This place is beating me up, literally beating me up. I can't do this anymore. I'm miserable. I'm going to die. I really felt like I was. Like, I felt like my everything was like my mental health, my spiritual health, my physical health. It was like, it was hard. And so I was like, I need to go home. I need to go and be with my parents and just like regroup. And we put everything that we owned in storage in Vancouver. We weren't ready to say goodbye to Vancouver yet, but we moved back to Calgary, Alberta. That is my hometown where I live now. And we lived with my parents in their basement for a year. And we kind of just regrouped. And this was also my chance and my kind of saving grace where I was like, no more. Like, I am not going to live life like this. This sucks. This is not fun. And life is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be inspiring. It's supposed to feel good. We're supposed to make money and create impact and not be drowning and working for people that don't respect us or appreciate us. And more than that, putting yourself in places where your health is being affected. Like, my health was being detrimentally affected. And so that was my time. And so I moved back in with mom and dad in their basement and regrouped and resurfaced. And it gave me the confidence because, we had a bit of a safe landing there, right? Like, I still had some clients, money was still coming in, but I didn't have all this like overhead and all this like expensive rent and all of that. Like, we were still paying my parents, of course, and we still had bills and still had things, but it wasn't at the level that it was. And so I was like, you know what? It's go time. Like, this is my chance. I told myself, like, F this, you have one life to live. What are you going to do with it? And so I did it. I went 110%, on me. And I hired my first mentor. That was huge for me. Huge, huge, huge. I invested $25,000 US at the time, which was astronomical to me. Like, I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is insane. And it still is insane. That's a lot of money for anyone or anything, but it was worth every single penny because she gave me the accountability and the confidence that I needed to bet in myself, to hold my hand through the way, to push me, to encourage me, to show me the insides and outsides of her business, to show me what's possible, to get me inside rooms that I had never seen before, to talk about numbers and big picture and ideation that I had never been a part of before because I was so closed off and capped off. So that was huge for me. And so I hired her and I just went all in. I went all freaking in. I knew how to do all the things, right? Because I had been doing them. But my mentor was that accountability that I needed, that I didn't have. And she was that confidence and that belief and that like, push, out you go, little birdie, time to fly that I needed. And if I'm being honest, I didn't have the strength for myself, right? And that's okay. And if you're listening to this and this is sounding familiar, like, girl, I get it. I'm with you and I feel you. I see you. I hear you. And I am you. I am you. Literally, I'm talking to you through me. Or you know what I'm saying. Anyway, and so, yeah, that was it. I hired her. I put creating content and my brand at the forefront. I put building a community at the forefront. I invested in a photo shoot and strong marketing. I got some video done. I launched my podcast. I launched the mastermind, and the rest is history. And honestly, since then, this is now 2.5 years ago, which is wild. I've now mentored over 1,000 women in one way, shape, or form, either through my online self-study courses, my mastermind, privately. And it's truly my mission just to help as many other female entrepreneurs or aspiring female entrepreneurs as I possibly can to create the life that they know that they're worthy of, and to step out of the shadows if they're living in them now, or, to avoid burnout and hospital visits before you get to them like I did. Like, girl, no, that is not the vibe. Like I said, we have one gorgeous life to live and we got to live it. So that's my mission now. And I just know that it's possible. And I know that every single person listening to this is born and made to live a life that they're proud of and to break free from whatever's holding them back and to just create a business and a life that they're obsessed with, like I am, okay? So that is a little bit of my story. I wasn't necessarily prepared to just dive into all of that, but to answer your question, how did I find the confidence to launch my business and go on my own, Megan? It was a struggle, and it took time, and it took work, and it took a lot, but we got there. And I wish I would have started a lot sooner. I wish I would have just found the belief even in someone else and use that to push me out. But everything for a reason. I believe that, and God has a plan for us all, and it all happened the way that I think it was meant to happen. But I do wish I would have started sooner. And so if you're lacking confidence right now in going all in your business or launching something, creating the podcast, doing the videos, or whatever it is, joining the gym, asking somebody out on a date, whatever it is that you're maybe nervous of or afraid of, like, just do it. Just freaking go. Like, you don't want to have regrets in life. I know that I don't. And I know that I felt like I was going, if I would have been on my deathbed during that time, I would have been like, damn, like, you could have done so much more. You could have impacted so many more people. You could have done a lot of other things. So anyway, I digress. So that is that. Okay, let's go on to another question here. We have a couple more. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through them all, but we'll try my best. What are we at for time here? 33 minutes. Okay. Okay, this comes from my girl Britt. Shout out Britt. How are you? So, how to set up a productive workspace at home, the mood, the decor, the vibe. Ooh, I love this question. If you know me, if you follow me on social, my house is like my sanctuary, and decorating it and design and all of that, the aesthetic, like, that's who I am to my core, which is also how I portray myself online and in social media. So I love this question, and it's an important question. It's really important to feel really good in the space that we're working in, especially if you're a creator and if you're creating content, and especially if you're working from home, which I know so many of us do, which is, it's a blessing and a privilege on one end, of course, but it also can be tricky when trying to navigate elements that happen at home. For me, for example, we had my in-laws, my brother and my sister-in-law, my niece and their dog, and my brother and our dog living with us over the last 3 months. They've officially moved out now, but during the summer, and while yes, it was amazing, we created the best memories. It was so much fun. It was just chaotic in the best way. And we got through it, and that was that. But on the work front, during that time, since my home is my office and my creative workspace, I did find it quite challenging to be able to really get into that creative flow, because I felt like my environment, even though I have an office, if you're watching this, we're in my office now, even though I had an office, it was still distracting because I have a glass door. So people would walk by. My goddaughter would be like knocking on the door, being like, "Auntie, when are you coming?" And I was like, holy crap, like this is wild. This is sometimes where I'm like, I kind of wish I had somewhere to go, because it's important to be able to really sink in and dive into the energy and the space that you're in, especially as creators and content creators. It's important to be in a vibe and an energy and an environment that is reflective of, like I said, your creative flow. So I get it, and it's important, which I love this question. So, okay, a couple of tips for me is, like I said, make sure you have a designated space for work. It's really important. So whether that is an actual office, whether that's a room in your house, whether that's a desk in a specific corner, like whatever you have in your space and in your home to make yours, that is designated for work only, it's important. So like not your couch, not your like kitchen island, like those are places to eat. Those are places to watch TV. And yes, you can do work from those places when you feel called. But I think it's really important for like boss, business, like admin, financial, calls, meetings, like things that really need to get done. I think it's important that we have a designated space. And if you are a mom listening to this, which I know so many listeners are, it's also a place where you're like, mommy is now going into her office, or mommy's at her desk when we're here. Like, this is a boundary that I have to create within the home because this is how we're structured. This is work time. And when I'm out of here, then it's playtime. And I just know from clients of mine and that have kids, and for when even I had my goddaughter, like if we're working on the couch, like that takes time away from them. They don't understand that, like, oh, you're working, but like, shouldn't you be playing and engaging and being present with me? And I think that the boundaries can be crossed. Whereas like when you have a designated workspace, it makes it clear for them, and it makes it clear for you that it's like time to get to work. So again, I digress there. So in terms of like the vibe and the aesthetic and the mood with anything that I have in my life when it comes to vibe and aesthetic and mood, I go to Pinterest. Pinterest is like my soul. It is the one social media platform that when I go to it, I leave feeling more fueled. I don't leave feeling like depleted. It inspires me. It makes me feel good. It's so visual. And so for any design space in my house, and including my office, I go to Pinterest and I will write in keywords that are a reflection of me and my brand. So for example, I'll write cream, beige, boss, workspace, aesthetic. Like that's probably what I would write in terms of the keywords in the search engine bar in Pinterest as a starting place. And then you're going to see Pinterest is going to start to compile and bring up different photos, and then you can create a Pinterest board for your space, and you can start to pin things. And then Pinterest's algorithm is really cool in that when you pin one thing, it's going to start to show you other pictures and videos that are similar to that. And before you know it, it's showing you just things that you love. And so starting to create almost like a mood board, vision board for your space. And so that looks like pinning everything from your wall paint to paintings to lighting to your actual desk to plants to decor to, all of the different elements that you would want part of your space, lamps, all of the different things. You can start to pin it from there. And then from there, you can start to accumulate things that you like and actually start to put together your office space. And it doesn't have to happen in one foul swoop. If you're not in a place where you're like, I can't afford to redo my entire office, Ayla, like, what are you talking about? Girl, me neither. Like, make it a goal this month to get your dream desk. I just did that last month. I finally ordered my dream desk from CB2. It still doesn't get here until the end of December, but like I had been envisioning this wooden, beautiful, because right now my office desk is glass. It's old. It's from when I was living in my parents, but I had to redo. We bought this house last year. I had to refurnish the whole place. So this has done me service and does me well from now. But I have been pinning and waiting on my dream desk, and it's an investment piece, like every piece in my house. So I am as much as I'm very abundant, I'm also very mindful of how I spend my money and where I'm putting my money. And anyways, again, I digress. But I am the exact same. I take one piece at a time, month by month. I make it a goal. I hit this target this month. Okay, cool. I'm going to allocate this much to my home space or my decor space or my office space. So that's kind of how I structure things and how I work things when it comes to the financial piece of making places look more zen and vibey. Some of my favorite places where I outsource and purchase home and office stuff is, I love Amazon. Honestly, I have an Amazon storefront. I'll link it here as well. Lots of my home decor stuff and my office stuff and pieces are linked on my storefront. So I love Amazon. I love Wayfair. I'm obsessed with Urban Barn, CB2, West Elm. Those are some of my faves. Trying to think. I'm sure there's more. If I think of any more, I'll link these in the show notes. Ooh, I'm going to be linking lots in the show notes this time. And then I always like to light a candle. I know that's but honestly, I always have candles in my house. I feel like when it comes to creating a warm vibe and the scent, in my bathroom, I have a candle. In the kitchen, we usually have 2 or 3 candles. In my office, I have a candle usually always going. That just warm light, like there's something about it, and like a beautiful scent that just to me makes me feel so zen. It also makes me feel inspired and motivated and creative to work, as well as playlists. So if you know me in my house, every time you walk into our house door, for the most part, we have a playlist on. Music is my soul. It's part of who I am. It's my family. We're all singers and musicians in one way, shape, or form. So having a bomb playlist on that motivates you to get into the workflow, whether that's like powerful Beyonce vibes, or whether that's like vibey Taylor Swift fall vibes, or whether that's even a podcast that inspires you. I always listen to podcasts as well. Maybe it's the Next Level Social podcast. You never know. But all of those different elements can really help to shift and shape how you can create the vibe in your home office. So thanks, Britt, for asking that question. Okay, we have, what time? 41 minutes. Okay, we're going a little longer. Usually I like to make it around 30 minutes, but these questions are so good. I think I'll get through a couple more here. Okay, so this question is a business and finance question. So how do you set up your biz for success and pay yourself with inconsistent income? Okay, so how do you set your business up for success and pay yourself with inconsistent income? Ooh, tricky, hard to pay yourself when income is inconsistent. I could probably do an entire podcast episode on this one. And so what comes to mind first is actually some advice that I received from a business mentor that I had many moons ago. Well, like almost a decade ago. We hired him internally when I was representing another female entrepreneur, and I was the COO of her company. And we hired this man. His name was Scott. And he gave us some advice, and I'll never remember the advice. I mean, I'll always remember the advice because it was tough love, but it was also important, and it's always stuck to me. And he said, there's 2 things. If you cannot take you out of your business and your business doesn't continue operating, you don't have a business. And number 2, if you don't have at least 3 months of runway / cash flow in your business to keep your business running, you don't have a business. And that means all your bills are paid, all your team members paid, all your overheads paid, you're paid. Everything's essentially paid for 3 months if business 100% stops today. Now let that sink in. The way that we let that sink in when we first heard that, I remember being like, what now? Like 3 months of cash flow. And at that point, like our expenses were huge. We had a team of 12. There was lots happening. And that's going to look different for everybody. But it was scary, but it also was the tough love that we really needed because he was right. If you can't take yourself out of your business and your business doesn't continue to operate at some level, you're not a real business. You're a solopreneur that is exchanging time for dollars, which so many of us are. And I'm still myself trying to get out of that, right? Which is why right now, my number one focus, if you're in my world, my mastermind, my private clients, if you are on my team, you know that passive income is the vibe right now. It's balance, it's boundaries, it's abundance, and it's passive income. I have worked so hard and I continue to work hard creating my self-study courses so I can create funnels around them and have paid ads going towards them to have people opting in and buying from them on autopilot without me having to be in big launches, without me having to onboard mastermind students and private clients unless I want to. When you're able to really work towards this goal, it takes the pressure off. It takes the pressure off of having to onboard new and get new and create new and launch something new and get that cash flow in new. When you have it there, you're able to get new when it feels good, but you're able to pay yourself what you want to pay yourself. You're able to pay your employees, pay your bills, and you're able to show up abundantly and not coming from a place of scarcity. And so my advice would be to start working towards this goal and doing what you have to do to get there. Maybe it's like, spending a little bit of less for the time being, launching a little bit more, putting yourself into some action to get there. And when you can get there, that, like I said, is going to allow you to really be able to pay yourself consistently without having that stress. And continue also to build out your offers, to price accordingly so you're able to bring in the cash flow and the revenue that you are, acquired to be able to get, and really start to lean in and working on how to create passive income. And if this is something that you don't even know what those words are, or you need help with this, like, reach out to me. This is my world right now. So looking at creating online offers, digital offers, looking at scaling them through paid ads and creating funnels and email marketing, affiliate marketing commissions with brand deals and brands that you're already, and products you're already using, reoccurring revenue through payment plans, and having that offer suite structured that you're able to have the payment plans and the ladder suite. And again, we could do an entire episode on this, but that would be my advice, Britt, for setting up your business for success when your income feels inconsistent. Moving on, last but certainly not least, this question comes from my girl Shelby, which is how to stay motivated when your mental health is in the trenches. Okay. When your mental health is in the trenches, I mean, this is again relatable, and I think we all go through this. And so I think it's like I was saying previously, is feel the feels. Like, if you're having a mental health day that's off, what I would do in the past would be like work through it, distract myself, like move on to the next. And while that can be helpful in some cases, in others, it's not helpful at all. Like, it's okay to feel the feels, have a good cry, take a day to Netflix and chill. Like, do what you need to do to recharge, and then get back on the horse the next day. And so what that looks like for me is I feel the feels and then moving my body. Like, that comes to the forefront for me in my brain when I think of like how I can crush mental health stuff for me. And this is just me. Again, this is going to look different for everyone and every business and every person, but I move my body, whether that's like going for a walk, whether that's doing a home workout, whether that's crushing it at the gym, getting myself into a class. Like, when I can sweat and feel like I'm like taking control and taking the power back in my physical body, that really helps my mental body. So moving my body, eating nourishing. Yeah, maybe I take a day to Netflix and chill and like have a bag of chips. Okay, fine. But then the next day I'm moving my body. I'm having like a smoothie, a green juice, a quinoa bowl, amazing protein, a healthy fat. Like, all of that stuff for me makes me feel the best. And so those are things that I can control. And those are things that I know fuel my cup and allow me to kind of like defeat the mental junk and the mental stuff that's going on. Surrounding myself, like I said, with close friends and family. I'm so grateful. My mom and dad are 5 minutes away. I have my brother here. So when things in the mental side of life feel challenging, surrounding myself with them and communicating with them. So communicating with those that are in your world that you trust, and like getting the feelings out and having a good conversation, going for a coffee, talking to a friend, or if you're in a place where you're privileged enough to have support in terms of a therapist, like that can be super helpful as well. Like, physically getting it out and speaking it out can really, it really helps me. As well as getting inside rooms with other people that are where you want to be and whatever that looks like. So for me, it's like getting inside of rooms with women who inspire me, who pave the way, like getting in a mastermind, seeing them and seeing what's possible. It doesn't deflate me and like make me like be like, woe is me, I wish I was them. It like lifts me. It helps me crush through the limiting beliefs and being like, holy crap, like if that's what they're doing, imagine what I can do, or I could do it too. So that really helps me. Like I said, listening to podcasts, setting the energy, lighting a candle, listening to music, all of the things that we kind of spoke about throughout this podcast episode a little bit, can be super helpful to kind of defeat it. And like I said, giving yourself grace. Give yourself grace. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Mental health is real, which is why it's being actively so spoken about now, which is an amazing thing. And so figuring out what works to you, talking to someone and giving yourself grace, leaning in, trusting yourself, tuning in, and doing the things that you know work for you to just really push past the limiting beliefs, push past the mental junk, and just get back on the horse, right? And so that's, like I said, that's for me, it's moving. It's not just like moving my body. It's like moving in every sense of the world. Yes, moving my body, but also, again, taking action, putting myself out there, getting back on the horse, executing, implementing. Like that for me always trumps anything that I have going on the mental aspect side of things. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. There are actually a couple other questions, but I'm going to save them for another Q&A episode. I absolutely love this style and this format of episodes, so I'm going to try to do them more. If you ever have any questions that you want me to answer, send me a DM and I will make sure that I add it to the queue for next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode or watching this episode. How freaking cool that I was able to be here on the mic and video. This is still kind of surreal. So hopefully I'll continue to do this. I'm going to figure out how this all works and get my groove, and I promise it'll just get better and better. But thank you so much for sticking around until the end and having a safe space for me today. And if you found any value in this episode, please take a screenshot, share it, take a clip of the video, tag me on social at Ayla Sorachuk. It means the freaking world to me knowing that you're tuning in and hearing your feedback and just seeing you. And until next week, Queen, I will see you there. Have a beautiful day. I absolutely adore and love you. Take care. Bye.